So if you're watching this video, you might be a golfer like me who's maybe not swinging at their fastest and feels that this club is starting to go a little bit shorter. You kind of know what you need to do with all those secrets to hitting driver further, but what if you're doing is maybe making you shorter? Well, watch till the end, because I've just found a little something with driver that's helped me pick up an extra 15 yards, just like that. So I'm going to hit a stock drive, kind of what I'm working on up until the start of this video, and show you kind of what's good, what's maybe not as good, and why maybe I'm slipping in some bad habits for driver. So I'll take my normal setup, put my swing on it, and that felt fairly typical, maybe just a little bit low off the face. Club head speed, certainly down a little bit at the moment at kind of 101 mile an hour. Ball speed not bad at 150. Low point 7.6 inches behind. I've hit up 5 degrees. Spin at 2,700. Launch at 14. Smash factor 1.48. So pretty decent energy transfer, but 250 and 269 total. Now, obviously the key is if I can get the club moving faster, which is definitely what I'm struggling with at the moment. I know there's the potential for more distance, but I need to make sure that the strike's good, and I understand all the technical stuff about if I can get the club travelling up at impact and launch the ball high and low spin, it's going to maximise distance. But definitely feel at the moment that the consistency of strike struggles a little bit, and there was one number on there, particularly for me, that's maybe got a little bit too exaggerated, and it was the fact that my low point was kind of 7.5 inches behind, so the club's travelling up 5 degrees at impact. Now, normally I'd say that'd be a good thing. So I have the ball on the orange tee, I get the ball forward in the stance, I get that nice bit of spine tilt, but definitely feel at the moment that when I'm doing that, I kind of feel like I'm hitting up too much, so I'm not really able to maximise my ball speed. So the big change for me is actually going from orange castle tee to the pink tee. Now, in my head, I'm kind of going to feel like I actually don't try and hit up as much. Now, I'm still going to keep the ball position forward, and I'm still going to have that little bit of tilt. But I then appreciate that if I'm going to feel like I hit down a bit more, I'm actually going to try and shift my weight more into that front foot, and then rely on the fact that the ball position's actually forward in my stance, going to get me hitting up a little bit. So I'd certainly like to see my ball speed pick up, even if the launch isn't quite as high. I still think if I hit a bit higher at the face, I'll get better launch, better spin, and ultimately more distance. So it's quite a change for me because I've been orange tee now for probably 8 years. And like I said, the hitting up, high launch, low spin, perfect, but definitely feel at the moment not giving me my best. So I'm going to tee it a little bit lower, keep everything pretty much the same, but kind of have a little bit more feel like I'm going to hit down on the shot. Okay, so a little bit wide. So club head speed picked up a smidge. Ball speed stayed around that 150. Low point was only 2.3 inches behind. Club travelled up 1 degree, still launched at 14. Spin rate dropped to 2,100. Carry at 254 and total at 279. So instantly that was a 10-yard pickup, even though my smash factor wasn't quite as good, and it was a little bit wider, but definitely there it felt more solid strike-wise, but it just feels quite a big change for me, even though optically it's very, very little when the club's behind the ball. So again, you can see I still hit up, not as exaggerated. So again, going to get set, pink tee, feel like, and when I say hit down, I'm not a big fan, and I use this terminology a lot, of hit up, hit down. It's where you get the low point in your golf swing. So because that club's moving in a circle around the body, the club moves up, moves down, reaches its lowest point, and then travels back up. So what historically I see with driver is that I move back okay, maybe don't get across onto that lead side as much, so the low point's a long way behind the ball, and the club travels up a lot. So I'm just trying to feel like I'm trying to get that low point, feel like I'm trying to get it slightly ahead, but actually all I'm doing is getting it a little bit nearer the golf ball. So again, get set, try and feel that low point's a bit nearer the ball. And again, felt solid. So ball speed actually has dropped down a tiny bit, but we can see there, low point 2.5 inches behind, club's traveled up 1 degree, spin rate very, very low at 1600, 13.7 launch, smash down slightly, but again, carry 247, but total 279. Now these strikes have been a little bit more kind of near the middle of the club face rather than low on the face because not hitting up as much. So I know for me, one of the ways I generate my speed with my irons is getting that nice shift into that lead side. So I'm going to really focus on that now and let that take care of the low point. But the lower tee, still got pretty much my normal driver setup and make that swing. So again, fraction more club head speed, ball speed just down at 149, low point a little bit further behind there at 4.8 inches. Club's travelled up 3 degrees, and that was just very, very similar to that first tee shot I hit. But we can definitely see that launch angle still around that kind of 14, 15 degrees for me, even though the club's not travelling up as much as it hits the ball, because I'm striking a little higher at the face, that's kind of giving me some better launch conditions. Right, so let's go one more, and let's see if this little tweak of pink tee is what's going to get me that a little bit more distance again with driver. And felt solid, just turn that one over a little bit, but we can see the strike right out the middle, a tiny bit more club head speed at 103 mile an hour, ball speed jumping up to 154, low point was actually a little further behind there at 5.6 inches, club's travelled up 3.8, spin a little bit on the low side at just over 1500, launch at 12.4, smash at 1.49, carry at 246, and most importantly, total there at 283. So even though I've only swung the club 2 mile an hour quicker there, the little change of tee height and how that's helping change my delivery and help me pick up a little bit of speed is picking up nearly 15 yards off the tee. So I'm not saying I won't get back to orange tee, but just for the time being, definitely feels like if I can get that tee a little bit lower and not obsess about trying to hit up, which a lot of us do, particularly when you're maybe just not swinging as fast as you could, try to be as efficient as possible. If you can stand up there, feel that you're going to get it more out the middle of the club face and transfer the energy better from the club to the ball, you can stand up there, put some good swings on it, and really start maximising those tee shots again with your driver.